Hello and welcome. And today the issue is stabilizing Ghana's economy and cutting our coat according to our material, because at the moment we are cutting our coat according to our size and we seem to be a bit fatter than the material we have. And it's about time we now cut our coats to suit whatever material we have. The economy, there's been a big argument as to whether it's been in a challenge or a crisis. Now, Professor Kwesi Botwe, who was the longest serving Ghana's finance and economic minister under the erstwhile NDC, now says the economy is also in a challenge. Are we now all going to sit back and bite the bullet, as we say in a kind that if you're pregnant and you say you're not, 9 months later, it's going to show? What is the way forward? Can we continue like this? And if not, when do we pull on the brakes? When I come back, we're going to have an interesting conversation. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. The topic today is stabilizing Ghana's economy, avoiding overspending, and what is the way forward. With me in the studio to discuss this is Prince Kranti Nkumi, who's the CEO of Institute of Certified Economics in Ghana and also a lecturer at Ghana Polytechnic. Accra Polytechnic, I beg your pardon. Accra Polytechnic. Prince, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And then joining us on the phone later will be John Gachi, who's also a chartered economist and a lecturer at Cape Coast University. Yeah. But Prince, so now the economy is no more in a challenge or a crisis. We all agree that we are in dire straits.
There's a problem, yeah.
Short term, is there a way out? Short term?
Yes, there should be a way out to any issue, whether it's a problem or it's a crisis or a challenge. And that is where the issue is. The long term, we have been hammering on it, that the structure of the economy must be changed, must not be import dependent and so on. But now we all accept there's a challenge and we need not just a short term but immediate solution. And that is where the issue is, and that was I was expecting to hear from Akosombo. It appears as if it has not been clear. If we are to get an immediate solution, then it is, if we had any reserves, we should be putting it in the economy now. In fact, we lost an opportunity of stemming the tide in February, March there. If you look at the demand situation, when being a third world, of course, now middle income economy, we know that beginning of the year, we will always have excessive demand for foreign currency. Why am I saying so? Getting to the Christmas, people are going to import in a lot of goods because there's going to be market for them. And some of them are able to get it on credit. And after the Christmas, that is the time that they have to pay back. This is also the time that the foreign countries in Ghana, after taking their stores and getting their net profit, this is the time they repatriate. And these are known. So there must be a model to estimate it correctly. And normally what is done is that if you have any reserve, you pump in a lot. You know, what we saw was 200 million pushed into the economy. That is woefully insufficient.
Yeah, the 20 million.
20 million.
Yes.
It was woefully insufficient because if you estimate an average, imports for Ghanaian to 1.5 and even more, billion and more. So if you just put in 20 million, then that is woefully inadequate. Because if you don't do that, then we cannot stop the hedging. We cannot stop the speculation. Because somebody will profit by just doing a business of getting the dollars and waiting for a month and be making a lot of money. So people will just get in and find them, whether it is the black market or no, the Forex Bureau. But what happened is that the Bank of Ghana came in and the measures rather appears to fuel it. Because if people knew that if they even have dollar account, they cannot take dollars, then they don't even keep dollar account. Then they try to keep it at home. So people have a way of getting it. And then the speculation continues. People hedge. And the demand is so high. So you see that you have not able to have any solution, even up to now.
I mean, they're even thinking of considering
exactly.
As to whether they can go forward.
Exactly.
But Prince, when these measures came in, we compared ourselves to most countries who have a strict local currency regime.
Exactly.
All the countries that we compared ourselves with have got a good industrial base to support their currencies.
Exactly.
South Africa, UK, France. Oh, when I go to France, I have to spend this. I can't spend my dollar and everything. But like you said, our economy is based on Gojisbeg's idea of let's ship things out. So how, when this implementation was coming in, how was it going to hold? Being that whoever keeps the dollar, eventually I need to go and get it to import. Because, you don't have a choice. You have to import.
Exactly.
And so whether I keep the dollar or you keep it, I need to come and find it.
Exactly.
I mean, wasn't it common sense that I would go black market?
You are thinking of the common sense to the authorities?
The business, to whoever was making the policy.
Exactly.
The policy was that let's all deal in CDs, and anytime you need to deal in dollars, you come to me.
Exactly.
Now, by all means, we were going to go and get dollar because majority of our business is importing stuff.
You are right.
And if you make it difficult for me, I would.
You have the point. Economic agents are rational, and they always want to maximize their satisfaction. So people will need to import. There are others who have to manufacture, and they need these raw materials from outside. There are others who import, things that people will buy anyway. So if you make it difficult, don't forget the forest bureaus are there. They are doing business. They have their sources of getting it. So if they cannot even pick their own dollar accounts, then what do? They keep the dollars. You understand? They go to the forest bureau, the black market, wherever, to get it. So definitely they'll go for it. And they had it. And the speculation becomes it even brings panic. So now people, panic is not something that is good in economy. So you don't put in a measure that appears to be what? Panic. And as I was telling you, the only prudent and the quiet measure to have stopped it was to have pumped a lot of money there. It didn't happen, basically because of, we are not near the port, but we can only, analyze from what we see. Either we were not having enough reserves to have pumped in, especially the net reserves, or we failed to estimate our demand situation very well.
Well, I mean, I personally think that announcement, like this panic business, that announcement created too much panic. The money should have come with no announcement on it.
Exactly.
If you say that I've put $20 million in the system, it's like, hey, if I don't get mine now, then it's gone.
Yes, because it's not enough.
We were hoping that maybe with the initial panic, it will calm down, but it doesn't seem to be resolving itself.
Yes, as I'm saying, until we find a way of killing the hedging and speculation, it will continue. And they have not found the way yet. It's business. Now, you just have this thing, you keep it. If you had some dollars February, when the Bank of Ghana policies measures came in, it was 2.4 to CD to $1. Now it's 2.9 and getting to 3. So if I kept some money, am I not rich just by doing nothing? I hope you understand.
Yes.
So to stop this depreciation, we must stop the speculators from gaining. And as I've said, for now, immediately, what we are talking about are long-term measures. We should make sure that the demand for imports are down and so on. These are long-term, but in the short term, or not even short term, I call it immediate term, if you have some reserve, that is what you must put. If you don't have, then you are in for trouble.
Prince, one thing that industry will need today, even if I came with $100 billion today, that look, I'm going to pump into industry.
Exactly.
I need electricity to power that industry.
Good.
So now, we don't even have the food to feed industry to even cushion us. Let's say I was going to do import substitution production. What do we do?
Yes, so we are talking about utilities, which we don't have. It's a cycle. I was telling some people that government took the subsidies from petroleum products, maybe for good reason, because they were expecting that the middle and the high income people were benefiting from it, and that the farmer in the village may not have much to benefit from that, and therefore why don't we take it, make some funds from it, and then rather poverty measures towards them. But you also have to look at the other side. As you took it out, what happens? The prices are going up. Why are prices going up? Because the formula that you use, there is the exchange rate component in it. And now that the cedi is depreciating and the exchange which is not on our favor. What happens? We always have to be revising it upwards, and it is cascading into high prices. Once we have high prices, then industry what? Suffer. Now we are talking about electricity. Of course, we all know what is happening. We are not having the electricity. Is it because that we don't have enough money to maintain or keep up the infrastructure to sustain our electricity provision, or is because we don't have enough money to maybe import certain raw products to keep electricity going? But whatever the case may be, you are right. It's an issue because then industry cannot grow. Now, the effect is that our GDP, real GDP growth will suffer. And when the real GDP growth suffer, we don't have enough in the system. Given the demand, we may have inflation. Again, unemployment situation comes in. It's a cycle that must be broken.
I feel sorry for government in power today, because this is a huge.
They need help.
Yes, it's a huge task, and unfortunately, the political divide doesn't allow that cohesion, that let's all build together, because the other half will say, well, do it and let's see. You look bad, and then I come. But what I'm leading to is that then it means there's no short term. We don't have a short term measure. We need to bite the bullet today, because the only thing that will help us now is industry to start producing something, and we don't have. I was speaking to a friend today who runs a laundry.
Yeah.
And he's saying that for today alone, they're going to use 100 cedis worth of diesel to run the laundry. The workers are saying, look, since last year now, you need to give us a pay rise. He has, she hasn't increased her prices, still charging the same price, but the cost is going up. So, these are real matters, and that's a laundry. I can imagine somebody who's running a bigger factory, how much cost in incurring. So what do? Do you lay people off? Do you keep them there and keep the salary low? You're the economist.
Yes. So it's a problem, but the problem must have a solution. I've always been saying that what we need now is what popularly we say transformational leadership. I want to call it entrepreneurial leadership. The basics is that we should have policies and decisions devoid of who is going to affect. Whether it's my brother, whether it's my sister, whether it's my countryman, or whether it is my party man, the right thing must be done. Because, you are talking about industry. If the fundamentals are not right, industry cannot grow. We are an agriculture economy. It's an agrarian economy. And therefore, if we can propel industry, it must start from agriculture. It must be processing of what? Agri products. Of course, we need the utilities. We need the power, Now in Ghana, we have many small-scale enterprises. And they are the ones who generate the what? The employment. And these are the ones who cannot buy generator for their business. So if you have electricity problem, then they are going to suffer. But how can we solve the electricity problem? Definitely there must be government coming in.
Capital investment.
Exactly. And government is not in the right direction. So what do we do? So as you said, we must bite the bullet. But am I the one? No. Individual look for self. Government must be able to plan for the what? All. So there must be a leader who says that I'm going to do it. Now how are you going to do it? You need to prioritize now. Because what is disturbing the economic fundamental is the budget overruns. When we say the budget overrun, you just said it correctly, that we must not just cut our costs according to our size, but we must cut our costs according to what? Our crop. So maybe government will say, yes, even though it's going to be a problem for other people, I am going to make sure that I reduce my expenditure, and especially from the capital expenditure side. We need road and so on, but we need to cut down some of this. Of course, there will be on you, why are you not doing this road, why are you not doing that road, and so on. Because you cannot stop salary. These are recurrent. You must service your debt in a way. You understand? Government machinery must move on, and therefore, that must be done. But other projects that can come down, especially those that we can do away with.
In Kwesi Botchwe's speech, Professor says, interest and salaries was taking 82% of revenue. I mean, it's like taking everything. I mean, what have you got left to do what?
But
it's not even enough to pay tithe.
Yes.
What you have left is not even enough to pay your tithe.
Exactly.
82% gone.
Yes.
And wages and just servicing interest on servicing debt.
Rather, but we should have seen it. That is why I'm saying that I am very suspicious about the models being used, whether their predictive model is working very well. Because it's a policy that was planned and executed. And before you execute in economic planning, before you execute something, you must know the cost and benefit. You must know that it's going to take the 80% as you are saying. It shouldn't come to you as a surprise. And therefore, you found it necessary to do that. That is how it was done. And if it has backfired, then that's where the issue is. But there must be a way out. The way out is not to say, I'm taking it back. Because, salaries, just like prices, are sticky downwards. Once they go up, they normally don't come down easily. Maybe you can do some staggering over a while. You don't just reduce it. You don't just lay off. Of course, private people may like to lay off, but there should be efficiency and supervision, and maybe you stagger the increase for a while. And that will be.
So here we are, with 82% of our revenue going into interest payment and wages. The president says, yeah, I will borrow more. The finance minister is saying, look, I can't borrow anymore. I'm up to my wit's end on this. What should we do? Do we borrow our way out of trouble now, or do we stick to our guns now? What do you do? If you were in charge of the economy, what decision do you take? Look, I'm going to borrow and put into some investment to get out of this debt, or no, I'm not going to borrow. We need to work our way out of it. Which is the best way out?
I'm happy I'm not the finance minister now. Yes, the borrowing is not the way forward now, because you pay and you borrow and you have to pay interest. Interest payment is so high, which is more 25% or more of government revenue now.
But maybe we can borrow to expand the port, to get in more ships, to get more money, or borrow to do something.
Efficiency now. Now there should be efficiency in our revenue collection. That should be done first before, if there is any borrowing. Plug the loopholes.
Loopholes. Let me take a break here. When I come back, because the amount of loopholes or the rate at which the pot is leaking. I mean, if we were able to, manage it, how much do we save? And, would it help our situation a little bit? Stay tuned, we're coming back. Well, stabilizing Ghana's economy, avoiding overspending, and the way forward. Now, while we are talking about economic crisis, this is though Ghana has suffered erratic economic performances that have created considerable uncertainties, the good news is there is hope in the midst of crisis. And Ishmael Yamson, an associate in partnership with Joy FM Thought Leadership, presents Hope in the Midst of Crisis seminar. Now, the seminar will be chaired by Dr. Ishmael Yamson, and speakers will include Kelly Gajepo, Enterprise Group, Dr. Bill Popolampo, Central University Business School, and Nana Oseibonsu, CEO, Private Enterprise Federation. The dates are 17th June at 5:30 p.m. for the plenary, and 18th and 19th June for the two-day workshop at 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. daily to help business build strategy for their survival and growth. The venue is College of Physicians and Surgeons, Ridge, Accra. Tickets are available at the front desk of Joy FM, Kokomlemle. The plenary is 100 Ghana cedis, and the workshop is 1,000 Ghana cedis. For inquiries or bulk purchase, call Joy FM on 0302 216 540. 0302 216 540. This event is brought to you in conjunction with Joy FM, Thought Leadership Desk, and Balti TV. So if you have any business and you think times are hard, go and sit there and see what you can do to revive your business. But my brother has now joined us on the phone. John, have I got you? I think the line is dropped. I hear some beep, but John Gachi will join us on the phone. But while we are doing that, let me go to Prince. Prince, leaking basket. It's leaking profusely. And you watch the sole commissioner, you listen to public account committee, you read newspapers on a weekly basis, and we're leaking more than we are saving.
Yeah.
How have the economists come up with any measure telling us, look, if you block this hole, you can save this? Are there any figures like that? Or?
Well, we don't have much figures, but we should do that. That is the way forward. If you are talking about taxation, we should talk about efficiencies first before we even talk about widening the gap and then introducing other types of taxes. You have to make sure that there is effective supervision. Of course, people are saying that we, the people, must also change our attitude. That is okay, but as I said, economic agents will always want to take advantage of a situation.
Let me acknowledge yes. John now. Hello, John.
Hello.
John, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, John, obviously the discussion is yesterday's speech from or lecture from Professor Kwesi Boche on the economy. Nothing new. Baumia said it. We've gone to Senche, and he seems to have rubber-stamped everything that we've been talking about. And one of the issues that came up, which we discussed here, I'm in the studio with Prince Kratin Kumi, who's a lecturer at Accra Polytechnic, also an economist. One thing that came up was that we spend 82% of the country's revenue or our revenue on paying for interest on loans and also on wages. John, I mean, what is left? What do we do with it?
Well, I think this is a reality that describes the Ghanaian economy. I think debt is one of the important components of financing for the economy over a long period of time. But because of the structural problem that we have, that results normally in a cycle of depreciation. This has a toll on our interest payment cost. So this is a reality that is actually associated with the economy of Ghana. It is not starting today. This is the reality we have been facing over a long period of time.
John, another thing that we have been facing over a long period of time, including today and now, is the leakages in the system. How much, for short-term measure, could we block leakages to cushion the economy a bit? Would that help, or that's a no-go area?
It is not a no-go area. I think the whole issue has to do with commitment of those who are at the helm of affairs, especially those who are managing our revenue institutions. I'm talking about Ghana Revenue Authority. Then on the other hand, the commitment of businesses and individuals in the country to see tax revenue as the only means by which our economy can develop. But that commitment has not been displayed clearly to me. If you ask Ghana Revenue Authority right now to publish their debtors list, you will be shocked to note that the amount of money that people are owing Ghana Revenue Authority is such that if that amount of money is collected, a lot of things would have been done for the economy. So largely, I think that the Ghana Revenue Authority must be encouraged to sit up to collect revenue, and then businesses and individuals must also sit up to do what we are supposed to do to contribute to tax revenue. These are the things. In fact, in the Research Center forum, this issue came up where the Ghana Revenue Authority was tasked to actually review issues relating to exemptions, because that is the area that has been identified to be, causing a lot of revenue loss to the nation. But going forward, the medium to long term is to change the structure of revenue administration, where electronic system has to be the way forward, where the entire revenue system will be predicated on a good database, which currently is not operating.
John, one more question before I bring Prince in is, if you are in charge of revenue, what more motivation do you need, knowing how crucial it is and how much law and power you have? You can literally lock anybody from the president down to the cleaner if they refuse to pay tax. What more motivation are they waiting for?
Well, that is why I use the word commitment. If we are all committed, those who are supposed to pay taxes are committed to that effort, and those who are also managing the process are committed to the same effort, then all that you are talking about will become very easy to do. So until that level of commitment is recognized and displayed, we will continue to have problems with revenue mobilization.
Let me bring Prince in here. Prince, one area which Professor Butcher touched with I thought was very intriguing was that because of so much indiscipline in the top, even when you're driving on the roads, he feels that even drivers have become careless. It's like free for all. Everyone is thinking, well, if you're not doing it at the top, I'm not going to do it at the bottom. I've never heard that correlation before, but could it be true?
It can't be true, my brother, because you see, when the head has a problem, the rest of the body, can also have a problem. We are talking about our big brother, talking about commitment. Normally the commitment comes when people realize that the taxes are being put into value for money uses, and it's affecting their life. But just as you are saying, if we have, mismanagement, maybe at the top, and there's no measure to actually curtail that, then people also, then it translates down. Why don't you also make ends meet? You go to the port, for instance, and it's like the attitude is not that committed, and because the supervision is relaxed, and therefore efficiency, you don't have that. But there must be someone checking somebody. That is the leadership and management we are talking about. Take, for instance, the fact that people have tax holidays and exemptions, and each and every year Parliament will approve those exemptions. But sometimes they are even taken before that year approvals are given. So what should have been done is that, why don't everybody pay? And then later on, if there's approval, you go and for a refund. These are things that must be put in place before we are even talking about widening to cover the informal sector and so on. So financial discipline, fiscal discipline, and in fact, leadership discipline is the key.
John. Hello, John.
Hello?
Hello, John.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, let me put the same question to you. I've never had this correlation, even though I find it very intriguing that, even the indiscipline on the roads, he thinks that it's because, there's no discipline in the top. So, drivers, will drive anyhow they want. Have you had any of that correlation in economics?
I think our country has not degenerated to that level. Even though, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I share the view of the professor that we are having problem with indiscipline across the society, I also differ in the sense that our society has not degenerated in such a very dangerous level whereby people misbehaving at a very lower level, and they are doing that just because they believe that at the very top that is mismanagement. I do not think that our system has degenerated to such a dangerous level. But the point is that even though if you look at the utilization of tax revenue in the development of a country, we cannot compare ourselves with other advanced economies. But we have very little that we can talk about if proper education is actually put forward. For example, if you look at our budget, in every budget, you will see debt repayment as we are talking about. Mm-hmm. Normally, it is the future revenue or tax revenue that is used to pay debts that have been actually acquired in the past. So if you identify all the roads in the country which were actually constructed as a result of loans, the understanding is that those loans have been paid with tax revenue. If you look at hospitals, schools, etc., facilities that we put across, if you look at national health insurance across the country, about 90% of national health insurance is coming from national health insurance levy, which is part of VAT. The same thing across all the tertiary institutions in the country. The schools under 3 were actually from GET funds. So that should indicate to us that at least tax revenue is doing something for the development of this country. So with proper education, these things should be highlighted. So even though I cannot compare the level of utilization of tax revenues in developing advanced economies to ours, I think we still have some of the issues that we can address and link to the utilization of tax revenue, for which people should be able to commit themselves more to paying taxes to the development of the country.
Two issues on citizens' willingness to pay tax. And I'll start with GET Fund, where people are so frustrated that, hold on, we've paid the GET Fund, you've charged the 2.5, it's in your coffers somewhere, yet still, they don't seem to be, be releasing these funds. Number two, if you look at the Public Account Committee, if you listen to the sole commissioner today, if you listen to the Kolebu story, it's like, well, I'm going to pay the money and they are just going to sit there and just waste it. And nobody will be punished for it. So, I mean, why would a citizen want to pay, tax anyway? If I can dodge it, I'll dodge it. Because if I give it to them, they'll waste it. But I want to find out why, the GET Fund, what's the economics behind it? Why is it not coming?
Well, before I come to the issue of the GET Fund, I think I would rather want to promote a situation where the citizens, the businesses, and people who qualify to pay taxes because of their business activity should at least recognize that the improvement in the system is largely due to the utilization of tax revenue. Even though they have cause to say that we do not have a very good transport system that will reflect the utilization of revenue, we do not have a very good, a robust community services system within the country. But I think I need to encourage our people to continue to pay taxes, because as I explained earlier on, there are a lot of things going on in the country that are supported by tax revenue, for which cause the ills of not paying taxes should be discouraged, where we encourage our people to continue to pay taxes as they fall due. But when you come to GET Fund, I think from a statutory point of view, as soon as those monies are being paid, or as soon as people go to the market and buy goods that attract VAT, indirectly they have paid some money into GET Fund. Mm-hmm. But I think the reason why monies are not being released have been explained to us, because of the huge pressure from debt repayment cost, the huge pressure from wages and salary. So it is not as if the monies are not collected. It is not as if the monies are collected and then they have been pocketed by somebody. It is because the pressures that come upon the country as a result of the imbalances within the entire system. You need to prioritize, and if you are going to prioritize, you will need to target the area that will not pose a serious challenge to you if you are going to ignore it. So I think that is the reason why there is some burden on statutory funds like GET funds and other funds in the country. So I think that is the reason. But if we continue in that trajectory also, it has a replication, especially most of these statutory funds are used in the rural economy to improve rural infrastructure that will gradually integrate the rural economy to the urban economy for the benefit of the entire economy. So if we continue to do that also, it has a long-term negative effect for the development of the entire country.
John, hold on for me. I'm going to take a break here, and then when I come back, I'll find out that where we are as a country, can we afford not to prioritize education? And on that subject, I just got a text message for Prince. It says, your guest on the show is on strike. How does that affect the economy and his students and Ghana's future? When we come back from the break, we'll answer these questions. Stay tuned. Very interesting conversation, stabilizing Ghana's economy, avoiding overspending, and the way forward. And, the GET fund is not coming in. That's some of the fund that could have helped you to stay in school, but now you're on strike. So the question to you is, how is your strike, contributing to the negative effect of the economy?
It's a good question. The objective of every economic policy in the end is to improve the quality of life of the people. That's the ultimate. Whether it is having roads, whatever, to improve the quality of life of the citizens. Mm-hmm. And as I've said earlier, economic agents will always want to maximize their welfare and satisfaction. So when the cost of living goes up, that because of high prices, inflation is on the rise, electricity, petroleum products, it gets to the prices. And therefore the cost of living becomes what? High. So you realize that if you were using an amount of money to buy one bag of rice in a month, the same amount cannot buy the rice again. And therefore you need to top up. If not, you become what? Poorer. So then you see one option is industrial action, just to, agitate for more wages. And that is part of the cycle, So once it is not managed, then the effects are there. The other way of looking at it is if you don't look for a top-up of whatever you earn, then the end result is that your child will also be taken away from school, and which is it? You stay at home, somebody's child is not being lectured, or you come and your child stays at home. So it's a cycle, and economic policy must break it.
Are you anywhere nearer your negotiation? Just a quick one. Is that just...
No, I am not part of the executives, so I'm not nearer the negotiation, but I have not heard whether there's any negotiation going on between the Protect and government. I have not heard that.
Well, I hope they resolve soon so that
I hope so.
We get the human resource going.
I hope so.
Have I got John?
Oh?
John?
Yes?
John, one major thing is government to literally, cut its code according to the material that it has. And another thing which we find missing in today's politics or governance is modesty. Yes, we need cars, but should it be top of the range? Yes, we need to furnish our homes, but should it be top of the line? Could just a good quality, modest one do? I mean, in economics, does it come to play, or this is just too small and don't be petty over cars? Let's look about the big fishes. How does it work in economics?
I didn't get you.
Well, you see, one of the issues Kwesiboche raised was that government was spending way over its limits, And I am asking you, as a layman, that should modesty come to play here? That yes, the chief executive needs a car, but should it be the top of the line, or could they be, a moderate, decent car? And I'm asking that maybe in economics, in national scale, that is too petty and I shouldn't even raise that subject?
Well, I think the reality is that it is very difficult to see most economies spending exactly how much they raise as revenue. That is the reason why, especially within the advanced economies framework, they allow for a deficit of about 3%, because they recognize that it is possible, or the reality is that they are not living in the ideal world, and for that matter, they engage in overspending.
John, let me cut in here. But in the advanced world, the leaders show a lot of modesty. I mean, Holland would have high-powered ministers riding bicycles. In the UK, you meet ministers and MPs in the train and buses. You know, it's not because they can't afford a car or they don't have it, but they don't go out, you know, in your face, V8, left, right, and center.
Well, those are things that have not yet characterized our governance system. But I doubt if that is the reason why we are having budget deficit. We need to address the main issues causing deficit and over expenditure.
Let me bring...
Over expenditure is actually mainly as a result of spending out of what has been budgeted for. That is what I think Dr. Boche was referring to as indiscipline. That is the reason why I think, as part of the prudent measures that the finance ministry has engaged in over the years, over the past few months, as they have announced to us, is to ensure that they put in a particular system, electronic system, that will not encourage people to engage in expenditure which has not been captured by the budget. So I think that is one serious area that successive government have actually caused over expenditure in the country.
Thank you, John.
We need to look at critically.
John, thank you. That's all time will allow me here. Thank you very much. I hope we can continue this. Let me come to Prince. Prince, yes, ghost names is one aspect of leakages. What I was trying to put to John was that you find, I mean, like this morning, you know, you find the board of Kolebu spending 1 million, nearly a million Ghana cedis on their cars. What I'm saying is that could they have at least halved it? They all live in Accra. They are going to Kolebu, which is also in Accra. I mean, do they need 1 million Ghana cedis worth of cars? Or in national economy, it's too small and therefore don't talk about these things? Or do they add up?
No, little things add up to become big. In normal times, we wouldn't have considered this. But when we have all realized that we have challenges, or others call it crisis, then anywhere that you can cut matters. You know, so if you are having big cars, of course, maybe because you are doing country travels, fine. But where you are doing Accra travels and so on, you can look for a very small car, you know, Corolla and others to be able to, you know, anywhere that you can cut. I think it matters at this crucial time. So I also accept what Professor Boche is saying, but also you have to look at the financial discipline he's talking about is, if we have set our target that this is what we are going to spend, then we must make sure we respect it.
How does that target get spent? Because we don't miss it. We just go off the mark.
Exactly.
So what informs that today we're only going to spend 12 cedis and we come back and say, well, we spend 20 cedis? What informs it?
Yes, that is where the leadership comes in. Normally, it's political, you know, things. It starts from when it's getting to election time or during election time. You know, there must be a way by which you can, you know, motivate your people. You know, sometimes you need to come up with a project so that at least there may be some income where you can rip in and use for other things. You know, it is not restricted to only Ghana. It is done, but that must be washed, you know, because if you then have that overrun, you have high budget deficit, you know, then, you know, the investor community rank you low in your economic management, and therefore the investor confidence comes down, you know, and these are the issues that he's talking about as far as financial or fiscal discipline is concerned.
Another issue that comes back again is the independence of the central bank to be able to say that, look, I'm not going to give you any more money. 30 seconds and then I run up. But I don't think we seem to have that.
But they should. Sometimes we don't help our leaders. Because if you have been given specific, and every organization has laws that guides it, and that gives power to certain individuals to do certain things. And what is going to happen is that you can be taken out of the position, but you have to respect the law.
Well, thank you very much. That's all time will allow. That's my director saying that's all time will allow us. Well, Prince Kranti Kumi, CEO of Institute of Certified Economics in Ghana, lecturer of Ghana, Accra Polytechnic, and then John Gachi, a lecturer, chartered economist and a lecturer at University of Cape Coast, also joined us. And for those of you who follow my radio program on Joy FM or my Joy Online, tomorrow I am saying that now we believe our own lies. And it's a very interesting piece, 2:05 p.m. Tune into Joy and listen to it. I'm saying that now we even believe our own lies. You would love that. And as I say, tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again. And thanks for watching.